Hello, my name is Jose Garzon. I'm a graduate of Whittier College, class of 1977, Political Science Department. I'm really sorry I was not able to join the panel today owing to some pressing family commitments. I hope this short message might help Whittier students think about their future career paths. After I left Whittier, I went to University of California, Berkeley, where I earned a PhD in political science. But instead of becoming a political scientist, I decided to join the USAID Foreign Service. I just retired a few weeks ago. During that career, which spanned about 3 decades, I worked in Latin America, East Europe, and in Asia. Recently, I worked in Afghanistan as the head of the Democracy and Governance program there, and I've been involved heavily in Kosovo for the last few years, working on implementing the peace agreements that arose from the 1999 war. Today, I'm an adjunct professor in conflict and development studies at American University in Washington, D.C. The world that the Whittier College graduates are going to enter is smaller and more interconnected than even my world was when I entered the world of professional work in the early 80s. The future is going to belong to those who can work across borders. When I attended Whittier, like many students, my world was Southern California. But what changed that world and changed my whole perspective was a semester in Copenhagen. Now, it's not so important that I went to Denmark. Denmark's a really nice place, don't get me wrong. It was a realization that there is a world out there, a world where people spoke several languages, knew things I'd never heard of, had other experiences, other perspectives, and it made me realize that I had a lot to learn. And I was curious about the world. I became curious about my place in it. Whittier is a great school. It's a very nurturing school. But you can also get a little comfortable there. If you want to grow as a student, or as a professional, or even just as a human being, you occasionally have got to get yourself out of the comfort zone. Every now and then. So my advice to you is first, get out of that comfort zone. Go to an overseas study program sometime in your student career. If it's not the Denmark program, go to another program. Secondly, learn another language. Learn a second language. Learn a third language if you already have a second language. Don't leave Whittier without at least having a very good command of 2 languages. Third, learn about a region, about its culture, its politics, its history. Then consider a career in the Peace Corps or in some private organization. Not a career, but maybe just a couple of years. You'll learn more about developing countries from that experience than any other experience. I spent 2 years at CARE, and I'm willing to tell you I learned more about how things work in development in those 2 years than I learned in 4 or 5 years in graduate school. I want to encourage you all to consider a career in foreign affairs. And particularly, I want to address myself to the Hispanic students because Hispanics are very underrepresented in the foreign affairs agencies. You have a lot of different options. State Department is one option. They have an exam for that. But there's also USAID, which uses a very different approach, which does not use the Foreign Service exam. And then there's other agencies that I'll talk about. Now, some people think that the foreign affairs and diplomatic career is not for them. They think you have to come from an elite Ivy League school. They think you have to come from an elite Eastern family. They think that diplomacy is about, carrying a cocktail in your hand with your pinky in the air. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, a lot of our work takes us to difficult and dangerous places. It is, in fact, requires a lot of skill, requires a lot of intercultural skill, and it is often exciting, and it's always rewarding. Besides USAID and State Department, you should look at the Department of Commerce, which looks at trade, USDA, which looks at trade and agriculture, and of course the Department of Justice, which looks at legal issues, the military, the intelligence agencies. But most importantly, there's the private sector, which does business all around the world now. So, in conclusion, challenge yourself. Take advantage of the opportunities that Whittier avails of you. Take advantage of an overseas learning experience. Take advantage of the opportunity you have to learn languages. Learn about other places. Learn about other people. And then go forth. It's your world. Thank you for listening. Go Poets. Good day.